Hello and welcome to this collective reading. I am going to be asking what information we need to know at this time to help us, maybe give us a little bit more clarity, but give us the guidance that we need to stay on track with what's going on in our journey. I want to say your journey, but as this is collective, I'm going to say our. And while I'm getting the cards ready, I'll just share what was coming up as I was preparing to do this reading. It was, my guides were talking about raincoats and how when you get yourself a raincoat and you wear a raincoat, it's not like you're never going to experience rain. It's just that you're going to know how to deal with it. And perhaps this raincoat, wearing it, gives you a better chance of staying dry. And, I think that's just something to perhaps think about and consider. It's not that after buying the raincoat, you're never going to see rain again. Like, that would be kind of funny, right? If you bought a raincoat and it just never rained the rest of your life. It's just that you know how to deal with it. You know how to put on that raincoat. Once you put that raincoat on, you know what to do when it rains. So, on the journey, don't get frustrated if you're having things come up that you thought were done or that you have been working on a long time and you're frustrated that they're not conclusive. It's more about just knowing what to do when they come up or knowing how to handle them. And, sometimes this happens to me, or this happened to me once. I bought a raincoat that was maybe too short, and then your legs get all wet. So sometimes the tools we adopt aren't quite strong enough or aren't quite right enough. So that's another message too. Okay, I think that's enough talking about raincoats. That's interesting. We're going to look first at the state of the soul. What is your soul's state? Okay. Five of Earth and the Magician. And the Magician is very powerfully trying to push through that Five of Earth energy. So what we see with the Magician is this strong creative power. It's the creative power of the self combined with the higher self, the soul and the higher self. This is the energy of manifesting, which is what happens when you align yourself with your highest self, when you align yourself with the highest vibration possible. And the state of your soul right now is that you've been trying to manifest, you've been trying to align yourself, you've been doing what you know works, getting yourself to a good place, visualizing what you want, speaking about what you want, feeling emotional about what you want, positive emotion about what you want, but it just doesn't seem like it's working. We're stuck in that Five of Earth, and there's two ways that I'm seeing this reading. That on one hand, the Magician is trying to push you through this time where it doesn't seem like it's working. That connection to and alignment with your higher self is saying, if you make this connection strong enough, we can push through this. That's on one hand. On the other hand, it's, I've tried and it's not working. I've tried and it's not working. I've tried and it's not working. And when this happens, it's because we're not understanding what is supposed to be working. We're very stuck on getting some kind of result or some kind of validation. So I'll share this story. I hope it makes sense. I was going to do videos a lot earlier today, but I got lost on a hike in the woods. I ended up hiking, I think, 8 miles when I was maybe just going to do 4 or 5. And I kept feeling like something was wrong. But my mind was convincing me that things were okay, So I'm looking at these markers, and how you just kind of sometimes on a trail you get this feeling like I haven't been here before. So I'm getting those feelings. I'm looking at these markers that I haven't seen before, but my mind managed to convince me that because I was turned the other way when I was walking, this was an out and back kind of thing, or so I thought. It ended up being something else. But I thought, okay, if I was facing the other way, then maybe I just didn't see them. Maybe I just was so focused on the trail that I didn't see the fence on that side. So I'm doing all this convincing in my head, but I'm feeling it a certain way. So what this is saying is, your soul feels the direction of things going a certain way, but your mind may be so convinced that it wants things to be a certain way, that it wants a particular picture, or it wants a particular path or trajectory or sequence of events, that it fails to really listen to that soul. And what is the soul saying? What is the soul saying in that moment? And so the way through this energy, because this is projective, self-focused energy, it's energy that you do to yourself, is to go back to this magician and say, okay, what is my superpower? What am I doing or not doing that I should be doing? This is going to be different for all of us. For me, I know with studying my numerology, studying my astrological chart, and from meditations with my guides, that, my superpower is about grounding and just this big, open-hearted love. And when I'm not doing either one of those two things, I'm out of alignment with myself. And so it's going back to that energy. It's going back to that knowing of what your superpower is. What is that place that you're in where you're your most powerful. That's what we need to reconnect with. That is the state of your soul right now, is that you're doubting that connection. Whew. Okay. Where do we go next from here? You know what? We're going to jump into some wisdom cards, some advice cards, but I will say at this time that I'm also going to do an extended reading and just pick up any more messages. I'll just open up to whoever is watching, and we'll just grab some messages that you need at this time. So give us some wisdom cards, please. Okay, we're going to have 3 cards, but we're reading them separately. The 5 of Water, the Queen of Water, and the Tower. So even though we're reading this separately, this is about shifting energy and shifting energy different ways. I do feel these cards together, but we're going to start separately. The 5 of Water, the energy I feel from here is to just let it flow, let it go. Whatever you're disappointed about, whatever you're upset about, whatever you're confused about, let it all come out. But understand that at the end of that letting go, that is the moment when your soul is going to speak to you. I love this little angel standing in the background here. That's when your soul is going to speak to you. When you have released everything, when you have released attachment, when you have released fear of what an outcome might be, or frustration with what an outcome isn't, when you have released all of that, that's when your soul speaks to you. And then we move into this Queen of Water energy, which is the energy of listening and of compassion and of being able to hear without judgment, being able to feel the energy of yourself and the emotions of others. It's the emotions of both, emotions of self and emotions of others, being able to feel that without judgment and without supposition, imposition, without pre-imposing a particular strategy on it or a particular flow. You know those things where you put in a marble and it flows down a specific trajectory? That's not what this is. Okay, the Queen of Water just meets things where they are. So when I used to teach piano, I was teaching in a music school, and sometimes you get kids come in, and I am not the kind of teacher that can make lesson plans, because every time I would have a lesson plan, it would never work. So basically, I did a lot better just listening to my gut feelings, my intuition, and responding to where the student was and where they needed to go. But, let's say that I had a set plan. for how things should go. And the student comes in and they're just in a foul mood. They're just in a bad mood. And, this is, let's imagine a little one, 6 or 7, and they're just, you can see this dark cloud over their head. I found that instead of pushing through with the lesson, it was better just to sit there and say, okay, do you feel like doing piano today? And usually they'd say no. And I'd say, okay, well, you just let me know if that changes. And if you're, and if you're ready, then we'll start. And so usually we'd sit there for a little bit, and then eventually that dark cloud would just kind of evaporate and they would say, okay, I'm ready. And, maybe I'd be a little more sensitive with them. I wouldn't push them as hard. Maybe I'd be extra careful to give them more praise because of the way they're feeling. But the point is that I didn't presuppose, okay, well, you walked in the room now, so 5 minutes later we're going to be doing scales, and then 5 minutes after that we're going to do this. That would have been a very unproductive lesson. And that's what's going on with our Queen of Water, is that just meet yourself where you are. Meet the situation where you are. Embrace it, feel it, accept it, because then it can shift. Then the Tower can come and shake this energy up. And the Tower will come and break apart anything that is stuck, anything that hasn't been moving. And I also feel like the Tower symbolizes this impetus to a different kind of action, maybe an action that you've tried in the past, but because there was still some baggage happening, the action wasn't as vibrationally powerful. I feel like the Tower kind of clears the space for that and consolidates your power and allows you to communicate exactly the way you need to say something. Okay, that was a lot of information, but I am going to continue to draw messages and create an extended. So I'll see you over there if you'd like. The link is in the description below. These ones for the collective are $7.99 just because they're a little bit longer, a little more intense. So I'll look forward to seeing you there, and if not, on another video.